Last year, the Republican-controlled House Intelligence Committee ended its Russia probe, saying in a report that it found no evidence of, quote, collusion, coordination, or conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. But now the committee is led by Democrats, and it is rebooting that investigation. Our CBS News intelligence reporter, Olivia Gazis, reports that the committee is beefing up its investigative team, offering jobs to 6 staffers and looking to hire 6 more. In a potential sign of where the inquiry is going, Olivia reports one of those new hires has a background in investigating illicit finance. And Olivia is with us now from Washington. Welcome, Olivia. Great to have you with us. Now, we know the Republican-led committee wrapped up its investigation. So how do Democrats go about restarting it?
Well, it's interesting because in a way, the Democrat side of the investigation never really ended. It sort of creeped along slowly since the Republicans abruptly shut it down last spring. Since then, Democrats have managed to interview a handful of witnesses who came in voluntarily. But I think really they were banking on winning back the majority and with it that essential subpoena power, which is going to make compelling testimony from the more reluctant witnesses they came across, like Donald Trump Jr., Steve Bannon, and some others much easier. So now that once the new membership is finalized and there's a new staff in place, there's really nothing to stop Democrats from pursuing virtually any investigative avenue they deem worth their time. And as you know, Tanya, they've identified quite a few.
Indeed. And so what specifically will these new hires be able to do now that Democrats have control?
I think they're going to say, I have subpoena power and I'm not afraid to use it. They're going to be able to make inroads on questions that have long been of interest to the new chairman, Adam Schiff, and other Democrats. And they've already telegraphed what some of those priorities are. They're going to want to do a deep dive on President Trump's potential financial entanglements with Russia. They want to get to the bottom of a particular phone call that Donald Trump Jr. made around the time of the Trump Tower meeting that they suspect was to the president himself. And they want to hear, in some cases for a second time, from some key witnesses, including the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, and witnesses who have since been cooperating with the special counsel. That's George Papadopoulos and Michael Flynn.
And are these new hires, Olivia, 12 total, all going to be focused on the Russia investigation?
Probably not, because the committee is still mindful of the fact that it's got this day job, which is the very important work of carrying out oversight of the intelligence community's 17 agencies and organizations. So the way that Democrats have elected to structure their work on Russia now is to have a sort of purpose-built team of about 7 investigators to focus exclusively on that matter, and then other staff members may parachute in as needed in order to help out. Keep in mind that with the new majority, Democrats are entitled to an additional 4 members. So they're going to necessarily need more staff, and they're getting it.
A lot of people there. So what about the Senate Intelligence Committee's investigation? Will there be any overlap now that there's new leadership?
I was curious about this too, Tanya, because the Senate Intelligence Committee's investigation is soon going to go into its 2nd year. And Adam Schiff, the new chairman in the House, had previously lamented publicly that there should have been a bicameral or joint investigation, since the committees were already interviewing the same witnesses and covering a lot of the same topics. And certainly working on that sort of basis, bicameral with the Senate and bipartisan because it's Republican-led, would stem some of the criticism that Schiff is probably going to encounter for leading a partisan investigation on his side. But when I asked committee aides about this, the response was essentially that while it may have been a good idea at the beginning, it's no longer practical for the two to partner. So for now, it looks like they're going to remain separate investigations.
And as we know, Olivia, Republicans on the committee said their work was done on the Russia investigation. So what are they going to do as Democrats press forward?
That's right. As you said before, the Republicans wound things down kind of suddenly, and in their final report essentially said that they had found instances of poor judgment on the part of the Trump campaign, but no collusion. And so what will they do now is a very good question, whose answer seems unclear. They clearly think that Democrats are going to sort of make this sprawling investigation and try to impeach the president, or at least find evidence in order to lead to that. But the Republicans I've spoken to understand that now they're in the minority. There's very little they can do to stop the Democrats from doing what they want to do, which is the same position that Democrats were in themselves the past year. And so I've asked the question of Republicans, but haven't yet gotten a straight answer as to what they will do broadly and what the controversial former chairman and now ranking member Devin Nunes is going to do. You'll recall he stepped aside from the investigation last year amid an ethics investigation, and it sounds like he and the Republicans are figuring out just how much they're going to want to either engage, obstruct, or outright protest what the Democrats are opt to do in the coming months.
But no doubt the Democrats are going to start digging. All right, Olivia Gazis, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya.